Hello and welcome to Clockwork Noodles. For the last time, we are delving into 86. Before we get going, make sure you are subscribed. There is a video up on the channel marking my top 3 anime of this season. It was a difficult choice, but it took a long time and I finally got 3 down. In that same video, I tell you guys what my 4 anime to break down on the channel are next season. I've got one from each kind of genre, so hopefully there's something that you guys too will be watching. And of course, there is a Discord channel for you guys to lurk upon. This allows you to get a notification whenever videos go up on the channel. There will be a quiet patch now between the season breaks. Usually I fill it up with stuff. There are pre-recorded stuff on Devil May Cry going up. That continues. But because I generally am at a bit of a low point and things aren't really going very well, I'm going to just take a bit of time for myself to go away before the new season starts. So let's look at 86's last episode. Do bear in mind there is another 11 episodes coming our way whenever the next cour lands. I haven't checked it out yet, but we are guaranteed a split cour. With that knowledge, at least gives you an idea about the ending and how permanent the ending may be of this section. So let's talk about it. We are finally at the end of Fido, so we actually get to see how Fido went out, just because we went out last week just seeing him in flames, no real mission behind it. But Fido ended his own life by saving Shin. His last act of courage, his last act of heroism, going out in that way. But we also get to see that they leave behind the box of names with him. The one who ended up holding the names, and they've taken the names as far as they can. Fido is essentially as far as they can, I guess, as well, with the knowledge that their journey was nearly up. They decided to leave the names with something like Fido, who has the recordings, the memories of all the lives or the names all recorded upon him. We really are this week running on empty. It was essentially the end of a short journey that was only going to end in one possible method, but we finally only have just the one working machine left. There is the moment where Shin goes, "Hey, look, I found a hole." Shin, my boy, that is a cave, but I think it's quite a cute little moment. I guess a cave really is essentially just a hole in a rock, so I guess it works, it's cool. It's just a cute little moment, just seeing Shin going, "Hey, look, there's a hole." But we are sadly going deeper and deeper into Legion territory. I guess it wasn't really going to end very well, because you're going further into enemy territory, so avoiding them wasn't really gonna go very well. It does feel quite nice initially, a bit of urban exploring that leads us once more to learn a bit more about backstories, that Karena's never really been to school, never had a chance. We do get quite a nice little sequence, a little bit of an unexpected school segment, one I wasn't really expecting, but it is a time long gone, which is quite nice, seeing once upon a time there was a class who graduated. Does make you question, where are all the students now? Have they all died? Have they all been long forgotten? We get to see the old textbooks of just a world that's gone by. Once upon a time, this world was a good place where people were being taught. What kind of history were they being taught? What was the history of the world before this point? Lots of nice little questions that came to my head, and the nice little roll call at the end, to seeing how excited Karena is when she's like finally getting to her chance to say a name in school. But it is the quickest graduation ever, where we're finally on our last day. But Shin was acting very odd, and I figured he was acting odd. And I don't know how I feel about the fact that he didn't tell anybody that there's danger coming up. And it's a sense that, is it selflessness that he's putting himself forward, or is it senseless? Because I get what he's doing is hoping that he can take them all down and he can take the damage and spare them. But they were only going to end up running out of fuel where they were. They were only going to be able to go further by foot. So I don't really think it was saving them from much, because they were going to die either or kind of method. So going out together would have been quite a nice way of just doing it. So him going out on his own, trying to be a bit of a lone wolf, it's quite sad. I mean, you don't want to take your friends with you. You've been together for such a long time. The music at this point is absolutely gorgeous. We get that beautiful build-up as we're going into our final big kick-off segment. It's orchestral. It's electronic as well. The electronic dubstep feel to it really gives it that robotic feel, because we are dealing with a load of AIs, a load of drones on the Legion side. It's a really nice feel. I love the way that Sawano can convey the world and the environment through his choice of instruments, his choice of compositions. But one versus countless, it was anime plot armor. It was never going to work, Shin. It was always going to end up the way it did. But it's nice to see Shin is putting up a fight right until the end. He did say, I think it was Raiden who said, we will go out by our own hands. So they're going to go down fighting. Shin's lone wolf antics end up finding us a new shepherd. But this shepherd says something a little bit different and acts a little bit different because they seemingly say quite a few different words. They say a bit more than just what Shin's brother was kind of like. Where he says, I won't let anybody harm the princess, which I believe we'll talk about it at the end, might be building into where we're going for the next season. But we also get to hear that they're using a long-range missile, which is interesting. Let's talk about that right at the end. For now, we're going to see Shin lose his head. I think there was foreshadowing here because the Reaper on his own machine was headless. I believe he was always going to end up headless. It also looks like he's lost his head anyway because I keep mentioning the marking around his neck. Even if it was strangulation as we saw, the way that his head looks with the paler skin, it looks like he's already lost his head. Maybe I'm onto something, maybe I'm not. But we finally get to see the rest of Spearhead going down. We get to see a new kind of troop as well. They look like robots literally running through the fields. And that is it. That is the rest in peace of the Spearhead, where the final words we hear from Shin is, whose name will I call when I am a member of the Legion? What were his final words, or what are his final words as a shepherd going to be? I mean, I've got a few theories, but I also don't understand if that will be a thing and how those theories will be a thing. So lots of theories in my head, but that's all they really are right now. That is the essential end of that little sequence until the last credit scene, where we finally get to see our girl. Our girl is back. Vladilena is now in 86. We actually get to find out that there are indeed consequences for actions. I did say, even during her segments, a lot of the actions she was doing, even though I fully support those actions, they were going to get her in trouble because they disturbed the balance. They disturbed the fake peace. Her acting out was eventually going to get her under house arrest. It seems like she's gone for quite a light punishment. I don't know if she's still the handler or not because we do see a new unit appearing. I don't know if she's still the handler here. So whether she's just under house arrest and then she's being reinstated. Don't know the full details of the consequences as well. But she is told that she's the first handler to actually visit. Of course, I don't disbelieve this. I definitely could imagine she's the only one there. But I think it's more the fact that she wants to see the old locations. She was there talking to these people for a certain amount of time. They would have mentioned bits and pieces about their surroundings, about the cat. She's there to essentially immerse herself in it, to remind herself this was real, this happened, this is me accepting that and visually taking it all in, seeing everything that they saw, being part of what they saw. The next unit again have arrived. It's just senseless. The bit which annoys me the most is there's no military benefit to just killing them. And I get it. They want to wipe these guys out. They want to hide the fact that they've been doing these horrible atrocities. But simply sacrificing these guys and not giving them at least the might that they need to have at least some success on the battlefield, it's just going to result in them dying at some point, and then all the people that you're trying to protect at the top are just going to get crushed. And sure, maybe they don't know that they will get replaced in 2 years and it isn't a 2-year thing, but the way that you're eating through people, I don't think they're going to last 2 years. The twist that the lieutenant is an Alba is a really nice one as well, because we do get to see an Alba who is, I guess, similar to the way that as Vladilena's feeling, because he was married to in 86 and he ends up dyeing his hair, giving up everything to try and be with them. And he ends up losing his wife and his own daughter. And the way that he says that on their last missions, he tells them, I am an Alba, you can kill me if you want, and no one has. I think that is poignant, the fact that nobody really saw sense in killing him. And he too he's actually spending his time on the front lines. So in a sense, he's doing something that nobody else really is. The beautiful string work. Oh, it sounds like a classical acoustic guitar, but it sounds reminiscent. It sounds sad as Vladilena is looking around the old house, which used to be so full of life. The sad cello starting to rise up gradually as the nostalgia hitting her as she eventually sees the cat. She gets to visit the place that their lives all played out, to the cat finally showing her to the secret. It leads us to a little secret. I'm so glad as well that there was a secret message at the end. There was a secret left for her. The memories of the past, hence the cello is back. We get to hear the past conversations playing over everything about the cat. What name shall we call him? And then we find out what book Shin was really reading. It's All Quiet on the Western Front. Most of this anime has been an analogy for something like World War One. A lot of people trying to drive into the idea that the racism may be leading into things like the Nazis. I don't know how accurate that is. I'm just going to put that there just so you know those are some things that people are saying. But it makes sense that he's reading a war novel. And then there is the picture that ends up in Vladlena's hands. I was kind of hoping she would find this. They must have known she would come looking, and I'm so happy that she did. And I do wonder what they would have thought, knowing that she was going to come looking for them. But they do leave her some last little notes, which is quite nice. And she also finally gets to see the artwork of her pig form. I like that. She seems very confused by seeing it. But it's the fact that every member has left something for her. And it reminds me of a leaving card. I recently swapped jobs and I got a leaving card like this, where you get a sentence from everybody. And some people like you, and you can tell, and some people don't. But all of the people have left bits and pieces. They've left a list of names and a photo. Vladilena finally has a photo so she can put the names and faces together. I like that. That is probably one of the ultimate gifts, so she can get a face for all of the names that she's been speaking to over that past year. And they do pass on the naming rights, so the cat naming rights. Avid starts to play, and we find out what Shin's last words to Vladilena are is, when you finally get to where we are, please leave flowers. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. But I do hope that she's going to catch up at some point. But it doesn't seem like it's gone very well at their end. But she does say that she's going to keep on walking forward. Maybe she is still a handler. I'm not quite sure. Hoping she is, because at least will allow her to maybe do something, or at least converse with some more people, and maybe just at least be a face or something to talk to before they end up taking their ultimate fates. Well, she ends up taking a name with her, but we don't know what the name is yet. What name would you give to that cat? Me? I don't know what I call it. I have a name for Kuro. I like Kuro, or I like maybe Virgil and Dante. I've got a bit of an obsession going on there. Don't think that would fit with the anime, sadly. But the end sequence confirming that Shin now is a shepherd. The way that we see the young Shin seeing his brother as a knight in shining armor, I like that. I actually really, really like that. He ends up leading young Shin away through seemingly a window. Now, windows are portals in a sense. They show you another place outside. They normally show a barrier as well. So I'm inside here. Outside world is separate from where I am. Them going outside of the window, going outside, joining a different world. I like that. It seems like we have passed on. We have left one place behind and now we're going forward. So what is beyond that window? We do see at the end Shin with no head. And then the final line, the poppies bloom on the battlefield. Once again, it's a link to World War One, the idea of remembrance, war. The poppies on the field were these beautiful red, ominous poppies, but red is a colour of blood and danger. And them seeing these flowers, as pretty as they are also a sign that something bad has happened here. It's the idea as well of the fallen innocence, the loss of life. But what were Shin's last words? We never really heard them. And I'm gonna wonder who he's calling out to on the battlefield. So time for my overall wrap up. What did I think and what am I gonna score it? 86 was a bit of a 50-50 for me. I really wanted to like it, and there's lots of stuff that I really do like about it. However, it was the people for me. So sadly, the fandom, the people around 86 really upset me, put me off. I got a lot of flack from it from people as well, which at times seemed a little bit harsh for somebody who was trying to make heads or tails of the world that they'd been put into, had no prior knowledge or anything. 86 is also the only anime series that aired this season where I got a downvote nearly every episode, which is quite sad because I really wanted to like it. I did my best to break it down. I did my best to try and get to grips with it for you guys. And I did find it very heavy. I'm not going to lie. I found the story of 86 very heavy. Every episode was more and more hopeless than the next. And it was predictable to where it was going to go. And I kind of knew that everybody was going to end in the way that they did, that we were going to lose those 5 members. However, I did tell you guys that I spoiled it slightly by seeing an image. But again, I'm more confused by that image than anything else. I'm still not spoiling it for you guys. I believe that you guys should try and come up with your own theories about what's coming next. Unless you already know, then that's different. I do believe the last image of seeing the 2 brothers going through a window might be a hint, and bearing in mind we've heard words like the princess and we've seen a long missile being used. What I believe is that there's probably a similar situation going on where the Legion are. I believe that there might actually be people on the other side who are firing those long-range missiles, and I want to believe that there might be something more behind their sets of drones, behind that idea. And I think it's believable that San Magnolia doesn't have the full information on the enemy that they are facing. So there is a possibility that the princess that we hear mentioned is a princess and she's a real person. She's not a drone, not a person, not a headless or anything. I want to believe that that's where we're going to go. We have 11 episodes still going our way. So I think the fact that Shin isn't permadead is probably a thing. However, him being a shepherd or having his head removed sadly means even if we find him at the end, Shin's not coming out of this alive. Unless there's a way on the other side to get your body back, I don't think that's going to be the case. What do I think's happened to the other 5? Well, they haven't had their head shot in like Shin, so maybe they too will become more members of the Legion. They're going to be wrapped up into that sense, and maybe they're going to be coming for Vladilena. That's quite scary to think about. So there's a few different routes I think they could take with it. I'm going to be very interested to see where we go. I have read a few reviews, just seeing what other people thought of 86 in general. Sadly, a lot of people thinking that Vladilena was the worst aspect of the entire season, which I don't know if I agree on personally. I like the aspect of Vladilena. I like the aspect of having somebody who is seeing the real horrors of what's going on her own side, and she's not jumping to protect them. She's actually seeing it for what it is, and she's trying to see both sides. Again, this is an anime I really got into a lot of hot water with the people around it. The anime itself, I actually kind of enjoyed. I thought the sound was great. Sound was probably the best aspect for me, but then it is Hiroyuki Sawano, and I love his work. The story for me just felt miserable and very heavy, but it's that kind of story. It's trying to be a story where it's not all happy days. It's not going to end in a well. I thought a lot of the storytelling, the imagery was quite nice. There was a lot of nice compositions used during this anime. Lots of little hints, hidden symbology, a lot of foreshadowing going on. The world around you is given to you in 2 halves, which I think is very clever. It's very rare to get a story that is told by 2 halves. I think Attack on Titan tried it with the Marley thing, so we had Marley at one point, but that's not done from right off the bat. That is given to you in the final season. So only in the final season do you see that flip side, that there's a second side of the story. So I think it's nice to have a story trying to give us both sides. There's 2 sides going on. However, it's also interesting that we're on the wrong side. So the main character feels like it should be Vladilena. It probably is. But the interesting thing is that most of the story happens around with the 86. So it feels like we're actually following the bad guys. For once, you are on the bad guy's side and you're following this one character who wants to bring about freedom, justice, a change, but they're trapped and they're limited by what they can do. So I think that was very interesting in itself. So overall, I'm giving this anime a 7.5. I'm rounding it to an 8 on my anime list just because it's half and half, and 7.5 is roughly in the middle. I wanted to give it more. I'm glad that it's rocking an 8 actually on Mal, but again, people might have been similar to me, coming roughly half and half and putting it somewhere at the top, because personally I thought it was a very interesting tale. I do think a lot of things could have been done differently, but I'm not the one behind this and I don't know the full story. There's probably a reason why it's been done the way it is. Also, bear in mind, I am an anime only, so I can only really go on what I've seen on the screen. I'm glad I watched it. I probably will watch the second cour just to see what happens. I don't know if I'm going to return just because I don't really need a video which doesn't get too many views already getting that one downvote each time, because it really upsets their algorithm and my channel is not doing so great, guys. So last but not least, I want to thank every single one of you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for also, especially when you leave comments and it doesn't make me feel as stupid as I do, other people who are also confused or trying to work things out. You guys make me feel better. And as well, when I did say that I couldn't forgive Annette, a lot of people weren't too angry about that, and some of your comments were actually quite nice, just to see you were trying to help me see why she was doing what she did, trying to justify the actions and what she meant. That helped. I really do thank you guys, for the people who have been quite nice. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me and also helping me along the way, tuning in weekly to see my breakdowns and see what I make of composition and the storyline as well. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. It really does mean a lot. You guys are the reason why I can continue talking about what it is I talk about. I've got 4 new anime coming out next season. I hope I get to see you guys again on one of those. The schedule itself will go up in 3 days' time, so you can physically see in writing form what's coming out when. Also, make sure you watch that video, because I am looking to replace when Devil May Cry 5 ends up running out of episodes, to replace it. And I've got 2 games in mind that I want to play, so you can cast your vote on what game I play and air to you guys. So thank you guys so much. Please take care of yourselves. Have a good day, guys. Bye bye.